Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we're taking a look at this really crazy knife here, the SRM 7046. SRM, of course, standing for Sanrenmu. What a weird little knife. I've had this knife for a long time, been working on the review, kind of sitting on it, forgetting about this knife for a little bit, picking it up again, carrying it, using it. It's taken me a little bit to do this review. I've done a lot of stuff with this knife, and yeah, I think we're finally ready for the review. So, I guess that's as good as we're going to get. Anyways, let's start off with our size comparisons and blade length measurement. We can see here that we're coming in completely under 3 inches. This is not a big knife at all. In fact, we're even under 2.75. This is, I call this a 2.6 inch blade. So, oh wow, look at me. Hi. See me reflected there. My gorgeous mug. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into our size comparisons. Let's start off, as always, with our rats. There's the 1, the 2. So yeah, tiny knife, not very big at all. Next, let's go ahead and jump in with our Civivis. There is the Praxis. Duh. And here's the Elementum. So yeah, even smaller than the Elementum by a good margin. Alrighty, so if you still have been convinced that this knife is small, let's bring out our flagship comparisons. There's the Benchmade Bug Out, and there he is, the Spyderco PM2. Yeah, small knife, small knife. And you know what, just for the heck of it, let's bring out another SRM that I still have floating around my collection. Here's the SRM 7063. So as you can see, these guys are very similar in size and in profile too. There's a lot of things between these two knives that are pretty similar. We'll bring those similarities up later. Maybe do a little bit of a compare and contrast. And then let's compare against one more knife. I'm trying to think of a tactical knife. This is kind of a sort of tactical knife. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. Not really a tactical knife guy, but there we go. I guess the Cold Steel Recon 1 is kind of a tactical knife. Oh, here's a knife that's even a little bit more tactical. The PM2, Tanto. But you already saw it compared against the PM2, so that's dumb. Okay, so yeah, there's all of our size comparisons out of the way. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at a lot of weird stuff. So we have aluminum scales over steel liners. That's pretty cool. Nice green and gold colorway. Pretty nice. We have a bit holder right here. Lanyard hole, whatever this is, we'll talk about that. Glass breaker. I think this is a G10 or plastic backspacer. We have a clip that is two-way positionable. We have a blade made out of 8CR 14 MOV, I think is what they say. It's not marked on the blade, but I don't know why they'd lie about 8CR. Running on washers, thumb plate opening, and the blade itself is a chisel ground. It's a very cool looking Tanto. Very interesting. But yeah, there's a lot to unpack with this knife, honestly. It's like it's kind of a little tiny rescue / tactical knife on a budget, and might be good for people who live in areas that have kind of stupid knife laws. So anyways, without further ado, let's go over and cut to the testing footage of this guy. I did a little bit more with this knife than I do on some other knives, but yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy that.
SRM 7046. Wow, that is a shiny blade. Alright, so, very shiny. This is a chisel ground knife, so giving a behind the edge thickness reading's not really worth much. It's 8CR 13 or 14 MOV steel. Anyways, let's just talk about it. Ergos actually locks into your hand pretty well. This thumb disc is a great place to set your thumb. Nice little pad. It is a slippery knife. And this thing here is a little bit weird, but it doesn't cause any big issues. So actually, for such a small knife, it's pretty good in the hand. How's the action? This is an amazing action. For a $15 knife, it's on washers. Absolutely amazing. I love this action. It's so smooth. And that wind is terrible. I apologize, headphone people. Let's talk about the carry. All right, so tiny knife, you have two options for carry. Tip down or tip up. I have it set up for tip up. Pretty shallow carry for such a small knife. The clip itself works okay. It's probably a C clip. Not my favorite clip. It is set into the scale, but we have button screws. Not my favorite thing in the world, but it's an okay carry. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our cutting. That was actually really easy. And for the push down, we're going to use the tip of it. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. So this is really thick material. This is really not nice for knives. And when I do this test, all I'm doing is trying to push through and seeing how many strands the knife blade gets through with just a push. And this is blowing everything else that I've done today out of the water. Absolutely amazing strong tip there. Might be due to that weird grind. Wow, that was good. Let's see how good he is on a pool noodle. Ooh. Okay, small blade. Having to rotate the pool noodle, but yeah, okay. Oh, that wasn't the best. Yeah, that chisel grind was not the best for going through that pool noodle, and the blade or the thumb plate was getting caught a little bit, but yeah, let's get back to the table, shall we? Oh wait, you thought we were actually going back to the table? Ha! Think again. This is a rescue knife. So you know what? If I'm going to have to be rescuing myself or someone else with this, I want to make sure it's tough. So let's test it. Bam! Wow, that actually went through a lot more readily than I expected. And the tip is actually fine. Okay. Well then, you know what? Let's do it against a little bit tougher obstacle. You know what? I should grab some gloves. All right, here we go. Obviously, safety is the most valued value on this channel. So, yeah. So anyways, the edge of this blade seems to be holding up really well, considering. Time to go into the side of this thing. Wow, that's just too easy. Wow, like I don't even think I have to put all my force on this. Let's just kind of drop it. Okay, maybe a little more force. Wow. Wow, that is awesome. And that knife, that blade's holding up really well. Let's grab some paper and see how that edge has held up. Wow, I'm actually pretty impressed. Okay, here's some paper from a little instruction manual. Calm down, wind. Wow. Okay, let's go again. I think the hiccups that we're seeing are from the wind blowing. But otherwise, holy cow. This is a little tank. How's the action? Lockup. Didn't move. Wow. Let's check the blade play. Maybe a little bit side to side. You know what though? For a knife this big, I'm actually fairly impressed. All right, let's see how that glass breaker works. I'll go find some glass to break eventually, but I just want to see it here. That's why I brought the gloves. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. All right, let's try this again. Okay then. You know what? This little knife is a beast. That's pretty cool. Alrighty, so here we are going to do some glass breaking with this little SRM multi-tool thing, the 7046. The cutting footage I did with this knife was taken about a month, almost 2 months ago, so it's definitely taken me a while to get all my video together for this review, but I don't think anyone's exactly biting their nails in eager anticipation for this review, so I'm going to take my time. We have this little camper trailer that's old and abandoned. I'm not sure if how much this window glass compares to like a vehicle, like a car's windows, but whatever. I do have permission to do this, so no problems. And guess what? I brought gloves. I know that's weird, isn't it? But you know what? Safety first. That's what this channel stands for. I can hear all of you guys laughing. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's see how that glass breaker works. I do remember in the cutting footage, it was pretty deadly against tin cans. All right, here we go. One thing I will say is this little area up here is a great place for your thumb to go. So there's the punch. All right, that worked really well. As did that. Wow. I cut through my gloves a little bit. I am feeling myself bleeding. See what the damage is. Well, not bad. One little cut. But, wow. Very effective glass breaker. This one hit. That one took 2 hits. All right, there we go. So, I guess if you're ever in an emergency situation, this little bugger could theoretically get you out of your car. Or someone else out of their car. Yeah, that's nice. Alrighty. I guess now we'll go back. Uh-oh. Starting to bleed a little more now. I guess now we'll go back to the table and I will, well, I'll go bandage myself up and then probably film the tabletop review of this video here in 3 weeks. Hope you enjoyed. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this really crazy knife. Let's start off with what I like, and the first thing I like is that it's a crazy knife. It's very different, it's very unique. I don't have anything in my collection that's even close to this. And it's unique in a lot of ways. For one, it's a super budget knife. This is a $15 knife. We'll get back to that. And for those $15, SRM is trying to hit a market that normally, when knives in that price category try to appeal to this particular market, you get MTEX. This is a rescue knife. Slash tactical. I mean, maybe not tactical. I'm not I'm not up to snuff on the nomenclature and terminology, I guess. Maybe that's something I need to get better at. But definitely a rescue style knife. And let me grab a cloth real quick because that blade has some smudges on it. But yeah, you don't really see very many
rescue knives for $15 that are actually not terrible. This blade, look at that. You have it's chisel ground, so there's no bevel on this side, just this side. Chisel ground, very, very shiny blade. When this was brand new, it was basically a mirror. Hola. You have this tanto tip, this little drop here. On the other side, you have the switch. And as you could tell from the cutting footage, it's not a bad blade shape as far as some of the difficult situations you might have to put this knife into as a rescue knife. This, you can get quite a bit of power up there. And I don't think did I fix this tip? Because I know I put some damage on it. Yeah, I could use another go. But just a very weird knife. A very weird knife. And yeah, I like the weirdness. So let's get into some more practical things. Number one, the action's really good. This is on washers, and it's very nice. Especially for $15 on washers, and like out of the box, it was perfect. Whoops, my bad. Out of the box, this action was amazing. You can see there I can do the reverse flick easily. Slap it closed, thumb flick it. It's a good action. The thumb plate actually works better than I thought it would. Even when I was wearing gloves, because I did test this guy out quite a bit with gloves. I thought this knife would not be very good in gloves. No, actually it's not bad to get to that thumb plate. Thumb plates usually are not my forte. They're not really my thing, but this one works good. I cannot deny that. So that's really good. Next thing, this is a multi-tool. You know, it has a bottle opener, kind of like this little knife had. And you can see some of the family lines between these two knives for sure. But there's a lot of functionality in this knife that's very small. You have this bottle opener, you have the bit set here, you have the glass breaker, as well as the blade, which is really nice. So that's cool. This is a nice multi-tool in form and function. I have tested out this bottle opener in the video for this knife, which this knife does have a review. You can go ahead and look that up. I will probably be creating an SRM knives playlist after I finish this review. So you can go to my channel playlist and look that up. Yeah. Next thing, I like the colors. The green and gold looks really, really good. It really does. The pocket clip, I like that it's 2-position. That's really, really nice. Especially knives of this nature, some people will like to carry it tip down. It comes out of the box tip down. I swapped it over. That's nice. The clip itself is okay. It's not amazing. Button screws, but it's an okay clip. Next, this knife is actually functional. It really is. The action is good, and it's on washers. And for a knife of this mindset, a knife of this creed, you know, the rescue knife, yeah, I would definitely want washers over bearings. Next, the blade, yeah, it works. This cuts. 8CR doesn't hold an edge forever, but $15, guys. How much are you going to complain for $15? I'm not going to complain at all, to be honest. This tip up here amazed me at how good this was. I mean, even just opening packages when you're not rescuing people, this is a good EDC blade. The chisel grind is going to be a little bit off-putting to some people, but it's very easy to maintain. In fact, I beat the crap out of this knife, and I ruined the edge, and I was able to fix it up. Reach over here. Be able to fix it up completely fine with just a few passes on one of these. And do I have a sticky note? Yeah, I've got a sticky note here. And actually, I could probably use another pass right now. In fact, I can. But anyways, chisel grind, going to turn some people off, but it is pretty easy to maintain. The glass breaker works, as you guys saw from my video. Yes, I was okay. I did end up with another cut that I didn't notice at first, and then this one on my fingers healing. They weren't bad. I actually didn't even put band-aids on them like I said I would. I'm also not filming this part of the video 3 weeks later like I said I would. I'm filming this a week later. So, go me. But yeah, the glass breaker works, does what it's supposed to. These bottle openers, again, they work for that. The blade is nice. I know in rescue situations, I'm full disclaimer, I'm not an EMT or a rescue person at all, but I do have friends who are. I've talked to people. Don't like to have a really pointy tip, so this gives you a tip that's not going to accidentally stab people. But I mean, you do have a little bit of a point there for stuff. Excellent for pushing down on cuts. Really, really great for that. Overall, I'm just really impressed that they were able to make a knife this functional at this price point. Speaking of which, price point, 15 bucks? Yeah. Go ahead and get one. Get a few. Keep them in your car. It's worth it. I'll spoil the rest of the review. Stuttering. It's worth it. And the number one thing that I think is a positive is that this knife is a rescue multi-tool option for people who might live in areas that have stupid blade laws. If you can't carry a 3-inch blade in your jurisdiction, but you want to have a rescue tool in your car, on your person, in case of emergencies, this is a great option for you because I really do think it'll work in a pinch. I really do. So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about what I'm not liking so much. So the first thing that I think I need to address are the handle scales. This slick aluminum. I'm not a big fan of that on a rescue knife. Again, not trained as an EMT or anything like that, but you know, while I was testing this knife, it did just feel a little bit slick. And even in gloves, sometimes there were certain times where I felt like I didn't have a secure purchase. You do have these grooves here that help a little bit, but especially when I was doing like the glass breaking, I really had to hold on to this. One thing I will say is the way this slopes down like that, it's a great place for your thumb to land, and so it helps you get a lot of power in there. However, I did feel the knife just kind of like sliding. I felt like I had to squeeze it even harder in order to have that secure grip that I needed. So, not fantastic. I really do. I mean, I love the looks and everything, and it works. It does work, obviously, but, you know, I just feel like, especially if you're doing EMT work professionally, you might want something a little grippier. So, yeah. There we go. Next thing, some people might say this is a negative. I don't really think it's a negative too bad, but you know, you'll scuff up the. Pretty sure this is just kind of paint on the aluminum. You'll get little dings in there and stuff. I don't really care so much about that. The ergonomics themselves, you are fairly locked in. In fact, the ergonomic lines are actually good. I'm not going to put them in the bad or the good because, you know, again, it's slippery. I do like this thumb plate. It's a great spot for your thumb to land. Kind of have that in lieu of jimping. My one complaint with the ergos, besides the slickness, though, is this little thing here. I have no idea what that is. I really don't. It's not a lanyard hole because, you know, the blade comes into it. I don't think this bump here has any function. And in the hand, I thought it was going to be a nuisance. It's really not. Honestly, it's not really a big problem, but I don't know. I just don't know why it's there. I just rather not have it. So, we'll call that one a wash. Next thing, the action was very good out of the box. Very, very good. And it's still good right now. However, I was fidgeting with this knife one day. I was like, man, this is so smooth. And I checked. I was like, no blade play. I said, you know what? I bet I can loosen the pivot a little bit and make this knife even smoother. So I took my T8 bit and I twisted the pivot just a hair. Loosened it just a hair. And yeah, drop shut like a guillotine. Whomp. But open it up, tons of blade play. And even the pivot felt like it was rattling. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, well, that's not a good idea. So I put it back and I took my T8-bit, twisted it just a little bit back to where I thought it was, but nope. After I did that, I could still flick it out with a lot of effort, and then it would not close. It would not drop, and I had to push it, and it felt like there was grit, like sand between the washers and the scales, and it was just like, rumble, 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 rumble. I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Like, I just made tiny adjustments. And so I took my T8-bit and I adjusted it back just a hair and got it back to where it needed to be. So what I learned from that is that the tuning on this knife is on a hair of accuracy. It's on a hair of accuracy? What? Oh, gosh. You have to be very precise. There is one spot where this knife functions good. No blade play, great action, one spot. Anything above or below that one spot, you'll either have a loose knife or a knife that is way too tight. And I mean, finding that sweet spot was a little bit difficult for me. So my advice would be, if yours works fine out of the box, don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. So, yeah. Next thing, this knife is pretty small. Oh, geez. And sometimes you do miss that thumb plate. So you've seen a couple times in this video, I've kind of skipped over it. When you get the thumb plate, it opens no problem. However, again, because this is so slick and stuff, sometimes if you don't get the thumb plate just right, and because the knife is so small, sometimes, I had to learn where to put my thumb. So sometimes you do still, skip off of it, especially if your muscle memory is set up for a different knife. I don't think I could ever fail a rat ever again, just because, with my eyes closed, just pick one up and I know where the thumb studs are. Just muscle memory. With this guy, it did take a little bit of learning, and if I, don't get that thumb plate in just the right spot, skip off of it. But yeah. The other thing about it being small is, well, small, less blade. Some people just don't like small knives. People with huge hands might not like this. So, definitely something about that. The clip, I do wish flat screws. Not very deep carry, but on a knife like this, I don't really care. You want to be able to grab it and get it out. I do like that, they give you the option to carry it however you want. But the clip itself is okay, not amazing. The carry on this knife is, you can stash this knife away pretty much anywhere. I'd give the clip like a solid C. Yeah, I'd give it a C. It's a C clip. But, yeah, not terrible, not great, kind of whatever. 8CR, you can complain about that. Definitely does not hold an edge very long at all, but $15. So, I think we'll give it a pass there. The reflective finish, is going to catch dirt and grime and grossness. So that could be an issue, but yeah, I'm kind of struggling to find. There's really not much else to say. I can think of a couple things to nitpick, but again, the $15 price tag makes nitpicking really hard. It kind of makes me sound like a big jerk. So we're not really going to do that. Let's just go on to my final conclusions. And my final conclusions are, this is a really cool knife. It is. I do not think this is going to become part of my regular EDC rotation, but I do think I'm going to throw this in the glove box of my truck. Just because. The price, for the price, $15, I might buy a bunch of these and give them to all my friends. It's one of those knives where I appreciate the heck out of what it is, but I'm not sure it's exactly for me. Big loud truck driving by. Again, I'm not trained an EMT. Closest I ever got was my first aid merit badge in Boy Scouts, but my CPR certification. But it's, if there's anyone watching who's an EMT or has experience with rescue and stuff, let me know what you think of this design. If you have this knife, let me know what you think. There's a lot of things that this knife has going for it, and I think the best thing this knife has is if you live in an area with dumb blade laws and you want a rescue knife, this is the way to go. It is well built. That is the thing I keep stressing. I mean, I don't think I have any M-Techs laying around right now, thank goodness. But you can pick up M-Techs at, any gas station, and they've got the seatbelt cut, the glass breaker, partially serrated, the rescue knife. They have the fire department on them and whatever, and they're absolute crap. They're absolute crap. This knife isn't. For $15, that's M-Tech pricing. This knife does rescue knife stuff right. And I can 100% commend it on that. This is a fantastic little multi-tool. I do love it. I really do. Of course, I think some people are going to find this to be ugly. I remember first seeing this on Nick Shabazz's channel long time ago. And personally, back then, I thought, wow, that's really cool. I want to find one of those. I couldn't find it, and then I kind of forgot about it. Found one a few months ago. I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick that up. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I got to see what this knife is about. Had a lot of fun with this. And yeah, can I recommend it? Yes, I can. 100%. This gets a recommendation from me. So if you can find one, I would definitely snatch it up because it's a good deal. And that's going to be it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.